when you were talking to me about it, I was thinking, do you or have you ever thought about starting some kind of an institute where we can really train such kind of startups that this is what is important. This is how it is to be done. This is not to be expected. So they know that from the very first day, they will have to go through this journey. They will have to go through this pain. They will have to go through these challenges. Whatever the outcome comes in, they have to stick to it, fight through it. And at any point of time, if it required, they do have people behind the back who can give them the money, who can find different solutions, because everyone is not good at everything,
Correct.
right? Did you ever give a thought of creating, or have you already
So,
created something like this?
so we have two things in the pipeline over the next couple of years, 3 years.
Okay.
One is called Global Startup School.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
everything within our ecosystem sticks around the word Global Startups Club. So Global Startups Club is the parent organization, which is the
Okay.
community.
Okay.
Global Startup Summit is our flagship event, which we do in several cities every month around the world.
Why not in Ahmedabad?
Very soon we are. And then we have Global Startups Accelerator, which is in the pipeline. So instead of funding startups directly, we thought we would rather choose a batch of 8 very good startups in a particular industry, help them accelerate over a 9-month, 12-month program, help them go global through our ecosystem, etc. So that's Global Startups Accelerator. Our media wing, which is in the making again, is Global Startups News, and Global Startup School and Global Venture Capital School is the educational side that we want to get in to educate even the investors on one side, because I think investors are also approaching the industry without knowing the downside and over calculating the upside, and also to make them realize startup investment is patient capital.
Yes.
And at the same time, the idea of Global Startup School will be to work with two categories of startups. One which is at 0 to 1 stage, to help them really channelize their idea to build for today's time.
Okay.
And second is the ones who have already built between that 50 lakh to 2 crore revenue company, how to help them scale from 1 to 10, which again is a bit of a challenge in
So
India.
would this school be like an infrastructure, or would it be like a virtual online
I think it will be a mix of both.
mix of both?
Today, I think virtual online only doesn't work. And owning and building only through infrastructure is also a little old school.
Yes.
So, you can have 5 sessions in any training room, and that's the physical locality of your school for the time being. You don't need a physical building and calling it.
Because then it gives you that reach. I
Correct.
believe infrastructure sometimes restricts you.
Correct.
Virtual gives you that reach of reaching millions.
I mean, you can have an hybrid program where the program itself can be moving. There's enough infrastructure built around the world today
And
that you don't need to be an infrastructure company anymore. You can piggy bank on the infrastructure already built.
I like the idea where, especially when you have so many partners around the globe,
Yes.
you can always interexchange your startups between them, so they can
Correct.
get better global perspective about their own ideas, and they can judge themselves. Yeah.
And we are a very large offline networking community.
Okay.
So we do about 400 physical events every year. So
In India,
around the world.
around the world. Okay.
250 in India and about 150 internationally. So we believe in the power of making people meet offline with each other.
Okay.
So any kind of a program that we do will have to have the physical element side, because
That even I believe networking. If it's networking, then it has to be one on one.
correct.
Even I don't like networking. Somebody tells me, yeah, let's have a call on the Zoom. I'm like, bro, let's meet up first, know each other first, because it's for me it becomes really a trust issue at times also with today's AI technology and everything, whether I'm really talking to the right person or whether somebody is trying to fraud me. You know.
I'll give you the other side of it to you. So 9 years I spent in Cape Town, South Africa. The one thing I really loved about their culture there is they really believe humans are meant to live life with all 5 senses.
Okay.
Okay. So, and we don't discuss that enough in India.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're supposed to know, judge, be in the physical reality with your hearing, your eyesight, your taste, your sound, how you shake hands, how you hug each other, how the people smell, how the environment or the room smells, etc., etc. And if you think from it from that perspective, by the time you're in your 30s today and you meet certain set of people, if you're a very sharp person, you can figure out if somebody is a fraud or not.
Mm-hmm.
Is he trying to talk to you with an ulterior motive or not? You can see it in the eyes, you can see it in the handshake, you can see in the small behaviors. So that's also why the trust building is linked to
The offline.
networking and the offline and the physicality of things.
Good. Agreed. I completely agree with that statement. Completely. Mohit bhai, it's always been that people who may be watching this podcast may think that successful entrepreneurs become successful by becoming confident.
Correct.
That's what we believe. And people who grow in their life beyond a stage, I believe that they also become too humble after a stage,
Correct.
right? So, what is your thought process about that particular journey from the day that they started to developing an attitude, then growing into a phase of ego, and then later realizing that what they built was built for the society and not for themselves, and later realizing the bigger picture where the humbleness comes into, the real humbleness comes into the
Correct.
play. So, what do you think about that journey of a startup entrepreneur?
So see, what you're saying is ideal scenario. I have seen enough good entrepreneurs and business owners even skip the reaching the humble phase,
Okay.
and they will live half their life in the ego itself.
All right.
So this is journey where you even meet a lot of very good founders who never went through the ego phase.
Okay.
Maybe their success
Never got on the head.
never got on their head. They were built differently. They come from that kind of a background where for them always the process mattered rather than the outcome.
Okay.
So it's the process that drove them.
Mm-hmm.
And having a little bit of ego after building something is also natural.
Yes.
Now, what might look as an ego or an attitude to somebody, maybe they are not that way with their immediate peers. Because see, very often what happens is when you're also riding on success, there's 100 times more people trying to reach out to you,
Agreed.
talk to you,
Agreed.
want something out of you. So them even saying a humble no to you might sound like an ego. You
Point.
own a great infrastructure, for example,
Point.
and everybody might want a piece of it.
Mm.
You might only want to tie up with somebody who's your peer or somebody a little ahead of you.
Yes.
So you're under no obligation to be nice to everybody else who comes to you with a new idea, a new mindset ki we can do this, we can do that. So it might come across as ego maybe.
So, in your day-to-day journey with this with the global startup, what ratios of startup entrepreneurs have you seen that have been able to convert their ego into, as you said, the process and taking the idea further? And what ratio of the startup entrepreneurs have you seen that have actually destroyed a very good idea just because of their ego?
I think enough on both sides. And it changes also city by city.
Okay.
So if you'll ask me, the north of India compared to the south of India, the south can be much more humble.
Okay.
They are more process driven, they're more humble. Whereas when you work with a lot of founders in Delhi,
Mm-hmm.
Delhi NCR region, I have just come across lot more lies about what has already been built versus what is actually built. So, and that comes across with ego. That do you know what we have done? Do you know what big companies we are working with? And when you actually do their due diligence and check their numbers, you might realize that It was all talks happening perhaps, but not real work being done. Whereas I've met so many founders in Chennai running a 100 crore company, and you wouldn't have guessed that this person, this gentleman, runs a 100 crore company perhaps. So, a lot more grounded, focused,
South.
also based on regions of the country.
But as you rightly said, I know the culture difference is the major difference that is always going to stay.
Correct.
But the overall topic that you just shared about, lying as a startup to an investor, to an entrepreneur, from the very first day, doesn't it become like a red mark once you start finding more about them that, okay, this is what has happened or this is how they have lied to you? How do you deal with those kind of startups then?
See, so from my perspective, even from the very first conversation that I start with founders, I don't believe there is anything wrong in trying to decipher how much of a truth or lie or trustworthiness test you can levy on them.
Okay.
In fact, in some of our networking activities, we have a game that we play with people, and we call it two truths and one lie.
Two truths and one lie.
So every founder has to give an introduction of themselves in that room with three statements. Two of the
Okay.
statements are true, one is a false statement. Because this whole idea that we should always speak the truth, that we are taught in India, is, I think, sometimes harmful. Because as a founder, you need to understand how are others lying to you. Is your co-founder trustworthy or not? Is your vendors trustworthy or not? So we teach founders how to lie a little and how to recognize lies also.
But a
Because
lie.
it's part of the game, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
if you're in sales,
Agreed.
let's be real.
Agreed.
If you're in sales, I'm a salesman of an XYZ car called, say, Mahindra, and you're asking me, is a Mahindra B6 better than the top model of BYD?
Hmm.
The truth may be that BYD is 5
Better.
years ahead
Okay.
on the technology front. But should I not still try to sell you Mahindra?
Got that.
Because that's my job, that's my karma, that's what I need to do. So that little bit of lie as a founder has to be there. I mean, even the best of the founders in the world, we can't say that the entire valuation was justified.
Yeah, that
So
I believe no
thoda
one
to
can.
plus minus is on everywhere. It just depends on what degree
So would that be
is okay or
considered
not.
as a lie, or would that be considered that, okay, you made a projection saying this is 100%, you gave it an effort of 100%, but it actually only worked out to be 70%, so you didn't lie. You actually put in all the efforts. But then there's another lie, which is a lie, where I really want to just give you the wrong information and get the fund.
See, there's again the other side of it when you're making those projections. By qualification, I'm originally a chartered accountant.
Yes. So for you,
Okay.
it's easy to
So
pick.
every number is a thumbs up, no, after a point.
Yes.
When we write down at a very, very early stage where you don't have a product, where you have not made even 5 rupees of sales,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying your sales in year 3 is 100 crore,
Okay.
your profitability is 18, 19 crore, you're not factoring the 1000 blindsided events that will happen towards that journey. Correct. So many of these projections are thumbs up. They are as scientifically as we would want to make them. They are not scientific. Very often, a lot of these projections are coming from a valuation already decided in the mind by the founder. A founder would have thought ki 25 crores is what I want to dilute my equity at. So all your numbers will go towards making that 25 crore happen rather than the other way around.
But regardless that valuation really makes sense to the investor or not, that's secondary.
That's secondary. Because there are now very sharp investors who have decided how they invest. They invest, say, 5% or 3% equity between a 12 to 16 or 20 crore valuation only. at
Okay.
an early stage. So they have pre-decided this is their, frame where they want to enter. Uh, so it's a tug and pull game all the time.
So, because you've been in this journey and in constant conversations and trying to build these communities with the startups and everyone, according to you, after whatever conversations we had, what would be a I would say harsh truth an entrepreneur should accept during his early days?
If you ask me the harsh truth, I would say they should live their daily life with the idea that I will build no matter what, and no matter if the funding comes or not, or I
So,
raise capital or not, or I get the partnerships I'm looking for it or not, and pivot from the position of strength. So if on day one, if I'll come across saying that I want to build an EV and go directly against BYD or Mahindra in India, that might be a tad bit difficult.
yes.
Whereas if you want to be in the EV industry and you start today by making infrastructure projects, giving services, do something across that industry and then pivot eventually into your core thing that you wanted to build, but more on a backbone of sustainable business.
Okay.
Because what's the use of an idea or a startup or a business which never took on the off from the ground? Rather be in that industry, wait for the right opportunity, and then jump into the growth pattern.
Growth part.
Because see, whatever industry you were building in 2017, you can't exactly build in 2026. No,
No, you cannot.
take a Zomato and a Blinkit example. If today you wanted to start a grocery business in 2022-23, it was near to impossible because you already had the likes of Zepto in the market.
Mm-hmm.
But what did Dipinder Goyal do? They went in, bought Grofers, converted Grofers into Blinkit. Correct.
Okay.
Because he had a position of strength running a delivery logistical company
So it's kind of
already,
either forward or backward integration for him,
in a way.
in a way.
Correct. In the same way, they have Hypersure,
Hmm.
which is essentially delivering um, goodies or products or vegetable and groceries to the restaurants. So again, they had the 10 lakh, 20 lakh vendor database. They knew each of the vendors what kind of business they're doing. They had reps on the ground already. So it was easy to go to the restaurants and say, hey, you know what, we can deliver your groceries and other products also to you directly. Just giving an example. So even today, if I give an example from a complete different industry, I know of a company which recently has been very successful in the drone industry, but they were not successful when they were making drones itself. But they knew they wanted to be in the drone industry. What they eventually pivoted themselves into, 6-7 years of making drones did not make them money. But then they started making drone softwares.
Oh,
Okay, because all the learnings from building tens of thousands of drones and having them work in the Indian ecosystem, they realize that a lot more drones are being used for surveillance, for infrastructure, either defense or infrastructure surveillance. So what they started building was a software that could help you do a surveillance of, say, a bridge, of an InfoCity park,
okay.
while it is being built, uh, and then use AI to give you updates on what kind of progress has happened on the infrastructure already built. So, a lot of small elements, because they were in the industry, they were able to pivot themselves at the right time, realizing that if everybody is making the hardware for the drones,
Then let's get into the software.
let's get into the software.
But the other part, you can also say that the harsh reality also is that sometimes the too much of expectation and too quick of an expectation in a startup entrepreneur uh, leads to a lot of frustration which then takes away a part or larger part of their energy to really think of what they were doing right. I think this is one thing that I always feel, that the harsh reality is that they keep expecting beyond the realistic timeline or beyond the realistic facts of the society or the business or the corporations that we have. And rather than keep trying, at some point of time, because they have defined a mindset with some timeline, and if it is not, if they are not able to somehow achieve that timeline, they start getting demotivated.
Correct.
So I think even if a startup plans to move ahead with any new idea, he needs to know, जैसे हम गुजराती हैं, तो since childhood we've been said that if you start something today, 990 दिन गिन के चलो. Don't give up for 999 days. Your
Correct.
1000th day would be a day that you will be happy. But during this span of time, ups and downs, wrong, right outcomes, decisions, wrong or right decisions, lot of things will come in and go. But you still have to stick to the harsh reality that everything in this world takes time.
Correct.
There's nothing that you can, expect like this.
See, so I think this over glamorization of entrepreneurship, I think, is the main problem why this has happened.
Agreed.
Secondly, when I think about myself as a founder and a lot of other founders who are my friends or who look at me as a mentor, I keep telling them about the fact that being a founder is a lifestyle.
Yes.
This is not a 9 to 5. This is not where you just enter, collect your money, and go home and say, you know what, I want a 25-day vacation with my wife to New Zealand. And you can't run companies like that,
Like that.
especially in the first 5 years of what you're building. What you talked about, the 1000 days as Gujaratis, if you go read American philosophers and mindset coaches, they'll talk about the 10,000 hour rule. In every profession, you require 10,000 hours to be a professional in that field.
Yes.
That's why and 10,000 hours roughly at 8 to 10 hour working days goes to 1,000 days again. So, which is 3 years. So,
3
you
years.
notice in medical, in chartered accountancy, in almost all major fields, you have 3-year internships
Yes.
to be a professional in that field. So, I mean, sometimes it takes, when you decide you want to be an entrepreneur, I would rather suggest also have your family on board a little. Very often, what happens is that there is family pressure for you to deliver on a house or lifestyle, vacations, or look successful to the broader society, is where you start building all these pressures on. If you are successful in year 5 instead of year 3, what's the big deal?
I believe finding the right partner, either in your day-to-day life, that's like a life better half, or in a business life, if you find the right partner, if you're able to get the right partner, that would you'd be considered lucky.
Correct.
You'd be really considered lucky if you could find someone who understands you to the point of what you are building, the timeline it's going to take, and the achievement that you shall be able to get, not only, I would say, from a mind, like from, I would say, personally with my moral or my soul,
Yeah.
but also from my friends, family, and colleague, knowing that my hard efforts that I put in have really been successful, and not to the only point that it has helped to develop multiple opportunities and socio-economic development from that idea. Now, socio-economic log samajhte nahi hai, but one idea, if properly gets placed and becomes successful, you're looking at giving jobs to more than 500 to 1,000 livelihoods.
Correct.
Either it could be direct or indirect.
Yes.
तो वो लाइफ पार्टनर का जो रोल है, whether it's in day-to-day life or in business. वो होना, I believe it's very important.
So I'll give you the other side of it also. Very often I'm noticing people going through midlife crisis in their 30s, 40s,
Hmm.
and that's why they are starting up. They're not honest and truthful about that to their partners,
Mm-hmm.
or they have communicated to the partners saying, I love corporate jobs and I want to be on the best CEO in the country, to suddenly now wanting to give up everything and start a company with no path whatsoever in the beginning. So I think it's the two side of partner communication which is needed. Because another partner who always thought of you as a stable person, who's happy with incremental growth, suddenly how do they accept the fact that you want to now throw everything away and want to lead everybody to a journey of instability
Agreed.
and financial uncertainty?
Uncertainty.
I realized it very long back because one or two of my early girlfriends, you can say, told me about the fact that you're a great guy, but I think you're a little crazy. So over a period, you understand 5 years later, that's what she meant.
Yeah.
Because you talked very radical ideas as an entrepreneur. You wanted to disrupt everything in your life. And I think other person was not ready for that journey.
That's why you need to have the right partner.
And that's where also you need to communicate with them.
Yes.
I never lied about it, but very often I see people lie about it and then blame the partner for the mindset rather than understand that maybe the other person wants normalcy and stability and looks at the micro factors rather than macro factors. Macro factors being the social economic impact that you're talking about. No individual today who's a great founder also is getting up and saying, oh, I'm so happy my 1,000 employees are being, I've created 1,000 jobs only. Because if that was the only reason, they wouldn't have also laid off 500 people at the next turn of economic downturn.
Agreed.
So I think that family trying to stop you sometimes from the entrepreneurial madness is also their way of showing concern.
Entrepreneur journey, sir, is always crazy. Only a crazy guy can do it, believe me.
Correct.
If a guy wants and say मारे तो means मेरे को 9 बजे ऑफिस पहुंचना है, 5 बजे मेरे को घर पहुंचना है, it's not for you.
Correct.
Somebody says I have kids at home, I need to be at this time at my kids thing, it's not possible. I believe time is not an option for you. To still have a good balance in life, a good life partner. Second is you have to define a few dates in life. Out of those 365 days, I believe that there are those 20-25 days that I need to, regardless of whatever is happening, those days needs to be put aside. I have 11 months to work, and I work from every day from 8:30 in the morning till night almost 7:30, and I wake up at 4:30. But I also know that these are the dates my son wants me to be with him. These are the dates that he's doing a competition. These are the dates that I have a partner who expects something out of me. So I've listed those 20-25 dates.
Correct.
But on the other side, it is also necessary that we find a partner who understands that those 20-25 days are as comparable as 1 year.
Correct.
Because in the entrepreneurship journey, as you rightly said, that if your only vision is going to be profits, let's say for example, then you're going to keep hiring people and firing people. But if your real journey is to make sure that you are creating a socio-economic development by creating jobs, I believe your profits should always be in creating jobs. If you really want to reach that level of success, right? In that case, you have to be very precise of how you are managing your daily affairs such that you make sure that you're not doing any additional or extra hiring that tomorrow you have to remove.
Correct.
See, sometimes when rosy picture starts getting good and good, we start thinking that, oh, we need this, we need that. We have profits, we have money. So let's hire somebody. But I believe rather than doing that, stick to that person, give that growth to that person, start telling him, boss, instead of coming at 9, come at 8. Instead of going at 5, start going at 6. Rather I hire somebody, rather I not give you a growth. Or tomorrow, I have to fire that person if things don't go well.
Correct. But see, these kind of mindsets and building company methodology can work when you're building for medium term and long term. Very often, if you look at how the typical startup industry is building on, there is this general assumption and also market scenario that you have to build within 3 years today. If I don't build within 3 years, the opportunity will be lost. Somebody else will build faster. Build fast, fail fast. So in that build fast, you end up overhiring. You end up starting or going on pivots and divisions that you have to close down. I think startups only creating jobs.
No. When I meant, I didn't mean startups. I meant
Yes,
is that once the startup has moved from an early stage to a stage, then the
correct.
idea should not only be profits.
I agree. I mean, even at an early stage itself, I have always thought of profits as a byproduct.
Yes.
They are very necessary. It's important to have money, but that's not the only driving factor.
Yes.
I mean, even for me as an entrepreneur today, just switching on to a bigger, better car should not be my only driving factor. There is an upper limit to all of that.
All of that. All of that.
Your lifestyle with 3 lakh, 5 lakh rupees a month and 20 lakh rupees a month will not change that dramatically.
Yes.
So, leaving the profit side of it away, you build because firstly, passion needs to be there. It needs to give you some level of satisfaction and fulfillment that what you did really created an impact.
Yes.
And building a good team is important, as you also rightly said.
Systems in place.
Systems in place,
Processes should be good.
Teams alignment of vision
Yes.
should be on the same alignment as yours.
Yes. Yes.
And today you have to build personal relationship with your top 15 to 20 team members to be achieving that
Yes.
under any circumstance. And how you're empowering them individually that they can take further decisions of their own is how you build a good company long term.
Yes. And I think the last point you said is you need to empower your team members if you want to go long.
Yeah,
If you cannot do that, then you cannot go long. You may achieve something, but not long.
correct.
All right, Mohit bhai. So now we're going to do a rapid round
Yes.
question, and the answers need to be in one word.
Chalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one is success,
Happiness.
failure,
Try again.
networking,
Trust.
money,
Byproduct.
personal branding.
Very important.
One piece of advice to young entrepreneurs.
Look at entrepreneurship as a lifestyle. If you want to be an entrepreneur today, think about it. It's a lifestyle you'll live for the next 30 years, 40 years, for the rest of your life. A lion never retires, an entrepreneur also never retires.
Never retires. So before we end, I believe conversations like this are needed in today's life. Such conversations help the upcoming young entrepreneur startups to identify what's right and what's wrong. It helps to bring clarity, helps in identifying the real pressures, whether it being physical or mental. And overall, the progress ideology of how a startup needs to move from the start till the end. Because today, the person that I have with me, Mohit Bhai, is also a founder of global startups. And the discussions that took place today was around how the ecosystem has been built today in the startup industry. With help of Mohit Bhai, we were able to give you an insight about how capable or what capabilities you should have in trusting yourself, managing pressures, creating impact, and as a startup entrepreneur, helping others to grow with you. Because you have gone through that journey, identified yourself as one of the startup entrepreneurs at some point of time, so it gives you a better knowledge and understanding of how you can help somebody who is in your position when you started your own entrepreneurship journey. So, Mohit Bhai, I really thank you for coming to the one person mindset and sharing your views about how this ecosystem has evolved, how today's young generation or young startups are looking for building their own businesses, their ideas, and most importantly, is how can they differentiate themselves
Correct.
between the old thought process of a venture capitalist to a new thought process of a venture capitalist, from a valuation to the profit mentality. And therefore, I would just like to say that whenever individually I may get an opportunity to work with you or create an alliance with you in some or the other manner, I would be really happy to do so, because I believe that the startup industry today needs individuals like you, like myself, or like minded people who can really help them build the next Silicon Valley. And I think it's individuals like you who have taken up the first step to identify that the lack of some processes or thought process that is not there today here, but in the Silicon Valley, can be built here tomorrow in India.
Absolutely.
So I really thank you, Mohit Bhai, for taking out your time and coming.
Absolutely my pleasure to be here.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mohit.
Suvvas bhai.
Thank you, Mohit.